Shalom and welcome to another session in our new series called Journeys with Paul. We're here overlooking ancient Neapolis, a port into which Paul would sail from Troas. Today, the port is called Kavala. Ancient Neapolis was where Paul sailed to from Troas. This is Europe, and Paul heard and responded to the vision that was given to him of a man from Macedonia who said, "Come over and help us." Can you imagine receiving a vision like this? Behind me, you see the modern port of Neapolis, because Paul then would sail from Troas into this port. Archaeologists and historians have identified the location of the ancient port here. It's very hard to point out and even see today because it's primarily covered up by the modern port. Today, of course, it's an active port. Even big cruise ships come here on their way to Istanbul to the north. But responding to God's call upon his life. Now, the Spirit prevented him and his mission companions to go to certain regions, but God opened the door for Paul to come here. So from here, he then climbed that hill in front of me over to Philippi, about a dozen miles or so. Paul responded to the call of God. That's such an important life lesson for us, isn't it? I'm not sure if we receive visions like Paul did, but perhaps signs, and the Spirit gives us direction and guidance and prompts our hearts, our spirit, to accomplish things that God wants us to do for him on behalf of the kingdom. Here in Neapolis, I always think of how Paul obediently responded to God's call. You can see all these boats here today, of course. These are all pleasure boats pretty much, but Paul came here, sailed into this port, and then took the good news of Christ into Europe. Philippi, Berea, Thessalonica. He then would go to Athens, and then eventually to Corinth, and then from there sail back to end his second journey as he sails back to Israel. Responding to God's call, it's such an important step of faith. Paul did it faithfully, and I hope that we learn the same lesson also. We respond to the Spirit of God as he calls us to do things on behalf of the kingdom. Sometimes that means stepping out of our comfort zones, does it not? But it does require us to display the love and grace of Christ as we not only display it in our life, in our actions, but we use words too. We share the good news with those still without hope. And the only hope that the world can ever find is the hope that we find and discover in Jesus. So may this be of encouragement to you. And certainly as we understand Paul responding faithfully to God's call, may we do the same as the opportunities to serve him arise. So from Neapolis, shalom, and until next time, walk with him and respond faithfully to the call of God's Spirit upon your life.